Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for your daily dose of the roars as we talk about the stuff going on in the world of technology. And I think this is kind of an interesting story, basically with the question of what is the real value of Nvidia and what is the AI hardware stack actually going to be looking like, into the future, right? I talk a lot about China, basically the Chinese AI stack and the American AI stack. And one of the problems is that when we're talking about that kind of just, that mushes a whole bunch of things together. Basically, it oversimplifies the stacks that we're talking about. And so when I talk about the American hardware stack, the AI stack, it's very easy to think that basically means Nvidia, right? So American AI stack is Nvidia, Chinese AI stack is Huawei, fight. When in reality, if you look at the American or the Western world AI stack, there are a lot of different vendors, there are a lot of different players, there's a lot of different technologies going on, and there is no guarantee that Nvidia is actually going to be the winner of this mess at the end of the day. It's very interesting. I was seeing this interview with Jensen Huang where he's talking about with Nvidia that the value of Nvidia is that Nvidia GPUs basically work on the largest amount of different types of hardware and can be tasked to the largest amount of varied different things to do in the AI world, right? It can do training, it can do inference, it can do all of these different things. So if you need a GPU that can run on almost any hardware and can do almost any AI task, obviously NVIDIA is the way to go. And the interesting part, actually being a technology professional, is like, hey, yeah, funny thing, that's not how we operate. That's not actually how you build infrastructure. Here's how you build infrastructure. You build a server or you spec out a server basically to do one fucking task and is expected to do that one fucking task for about 5 years until you rip and replace, right? This is not a home lab. I don't buy a $40,000 NVIDIA GPU and slot it in this case. And then 2 months later, slot it into another case. And then 2 months later, try one operating system or another operating system or another. No. You buy the servers, you rack the fucking servers, you make sure the green lights are blinking the way the fucking green lights are supposed to blink, and you walk the fuck away for 5 years. And so I think that's kind of an interesting thing to be thinking about, where I do actually believe Jensen Huang literally telegraphed to the world the weakness of Nvidia, but tried to couch it in the concept of strength, right? We can do so much. It's like, well, here's the thing, boys and girls, right? If I can buy a processor, ASICs, TPU, whatever else, I buy a processor that is 50% or 75% of what an NVIDIA processor can do, and I can pay 25% in order to get that, the value proposition there actually probably makes a hell of a lot more sense, right? I can get a hell of a lot more functionality for my buck than if I simply bought NVIDIA. And I think this is a curious thing that's going on right now. So you hear about this with ASICs processors. So Grok, not Elon Musk's Grok, there's a different Grok. Startup companies now are so bad with branding at this point in time. Anyways, there's a company called Grok. They use ASICs processors for inference. Western company that does this. They apparently can build a data center in something like 5 weeks if you want them to do it. But their whole thing, again, is price for performance. It only does inference. You don't do training with it. We see TPUs, Google and their TPUs. Apparently, the Gemini Pro 3 model was actually trained on Google's TPUs, tensor processing units, that have nothing the fuck to do with NVIDIA. AWS is doing their thing. Meta is doing their thing. And so what's kind of interesting here is it looks like Apple is doing their thing too. So they're actually coming up with this Baltra processor, Apple's AI server chip, Baltra, likely to be used primarily for AI inference. And I do think this is going to be an interesting play for Apple, where there's this idea that Apple has fallen behind because they're not doing what all the other fucking lemmings are doing. It shows that they're out of touch. Because that's how you can tell in the modern world of technology how a company is not innovative anymore, when they're not doing exactly what every other company is doing. And I think one of the curious things with Apple, again, actually owning Apple products, being in the Apple ecosystem, is many times they don't go for the stupid stuff. They actually go for the things that are valuable and that are useful. Again, when I use my MacBook Pro, a lot of people said, oh, Eli spends all this money on a MacBook Pro. That shows you what an idiot he is. Look, when I use Final Cut, I put my videos in, I do my shopping, I hit go, it just encodes my videos. I'm not saying my MacBook Pro never crashes. I am saying it's about once or twice a year. Right? I used to watch that. Like, people give me crap about owning Macs. And then there's this guy, Jerry Berg, Nerdgasm, and he would get from Puget Systems. There's this company called Puget Systems that would build these $10,000 to $10,000 Windows system. So you think a MacBook's expensive? $10,000 Windows system. And it was funny. It was funny where you'd have screenshots of where he would be using Premiere to encode a video, and how many times on that $10,000 Windows piece of garbage did the goddamn thing fail out after like 3 hours of encoding. It just doesn't happen. I can't even say I can count on one hand how many times that's happened to me. It's such a non-fucking issue. I can't remember the last time it actually happened, right? And so that's one of the interesting things with Apple, is Apple actually produces products. They actually produce solutions that solve people's problems, and they do it in such a way that is again, not that there's no issues, relatively seamless, and you just go about your day. And so it's kind of interesting here with this idea now that Apple is going for their AI chip. This is not an AI chip that they're going to be selling to the world. This is not an AI chip that they're going to be renting to the world. This is just going to be their own little internal AI chip to do exactly whatever the hell it is that Apple wants done. And I think we're going to start seeing this more and more of these tech stacks. Is basically we're going to have more of these hyper-focused tech stacks where the companies own everything from the hardware up. The curious thing for tech professionals in the future is going to be how to learn to support these systems, right? I remember the old days, right? I was certified in Avaya telephone systems. They're called Definity, right? They're digital telephone systems, right? I remember the old surveillance cameras, the digital video recorders from not so long ago, when everything was on its own tech stack, right? Telephones use Cat3 cable, surveillance systems use coax cable, all of that access control used 12-volt cable, basically, right? And, a number of years ago, about 20 years ago at this point, we had something called convergence. And the idea with convergence is we bring all of these different technologies onto one uniform stack. They all use Cat5. They all use TCP/IP4. They all use basically, Intel processors or ARM processors or whatever else. It's one stack. And so it was easy not just to support, but also to learn this stuff. I think what's going to become interesting is as we see kind of like the death of convergence, one of the big questions is going to be how do you find people to support these new technologies that are coming out, and how do you go down the path to learn these technologies. I have a buddy of mine in the COBOL world. So COBOL, you can make a lot of money doing COBOL. COBOL is a great path to go down. One of the big problems I talked to my buddy before about is I have no idea how to go down that path. Right? If you want to learn Node, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you, but if you want to learn Node, I know the path to take you down to teach you Node, right? If you want to learn Python, obviously we have all these classes for Python. If you want to know PHP, if you don't know C#, C++, C, there's all these paths to go down in order to learn those languages. If you want to learn COBOL, seriously. What does that path look like? And that's one of the reasons there's so much demand in the COBOL world, I believe, is because people know that it's valuable. It's boring as shit, but it's valuable. But they don't really know how to go that way. And I think that's going to be a curious thing. Is what happens when these technology companies start embracing the COBOL concept of architecture. And then again, like for support and deployment and building and all that kind of stuff, where is that all gonna go? Anyway, so if we take a look at this, Baltra, the internal code name given to Apple's bespoke AI server chip, which is expected to debut in 2027. Back in spring 2024, multiple reports emerged that Apple was working with Broadcom on its first AI server chip, bearing the internal code name Baltra. Some reports at the time also suggested that the chip would leverage TSMC's 3-nanometer N3E process, and that the design process would conclude over the coming 12-month period. Of course, the actual deployment of these custom AI chips is now expected in 2027, with Apple having already commenced the shipment of its US-made servers back in October of 2025. Apple is not expected to train large AI models, at least for the time being, especially as it has already struck a deal with Google to deploy a customized 3 trillion parameter Gemini AI model to power Apple Intelligence in the cloud, and would pay Google $1 billion per year for the right to use this model. It is only reasonable to assume that Apple will primarily use the Baltra AI server chips to cater to its gargantuan AI inference needs. And so they're going to be building out their AI architecture, it looks, using these Baltra chips. It is curious here, again, looking at Broadcom, you'll notice a name that keeps coming up more and more and more. Broadcom, right? Broadcom is building the TPUs. Broadcom, I think, is building Meta's processors. Broadcom, I do believe, is building Amazon's processors. Broadcom is building Apple's processors. But, you know, Nvidia is a $5 trillion company. Might be a good investment play until all of this blows up and our society is taken out by the kneecaps and we're all starving to death. But I don't know. One of those things to kind of think about. So it'll be interesting to see what path Apple goes down with these AI deployments. Basically, we saw this with Google, right? Google was considered and also ran in the AI space for some reason. It was considered that OpenAI was doing so much better than Google, and Google had fallen behind. And now Google came out with their new Gemini Pro model, basically all trained on their own proprietary TPUs, which apparently I've been informed is better than GPT-5 or whatever else. So I mean, that was supposedly a surprise in the technology world. And so I do think that's interesting to take a look at this too with Apple, right? There's this idea that Apple has fallen behind because Apple is not doing what everybody else is doing. They're no longer innovative anymore. What if they're actually simply going down a different path, and their path is to build systems that actually solve their users' problems in a reliable fashion? I think that might be a powerful way to go. And it will be curious to see with this whole AI stack, what does the AI stack actually look like in 5 years? And I honestly believe Nvidia is going to have some problems, right? Jensen Huang coming out and saying that what their strength is, right? Their GPUs can be used on the most different types of hardware to do, you know, numerous different types of tasks. That sounds strong, but at a particular price point, I think that actually might be a major vulnerability for them, especially, you know, with a $5 trillion valuation. So what do you think about this with Apple's new AI chip, Baltra, that will be rolling out in the next couple of years? Do you think Apple basically has fallen behind everybody else, or are they just doing things other folks aren't thinking about? And, you know, in this lemming-based society, that makes them seem like they're failing. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Leave a comment down below. Do remember I do these videos in order to support Silicon Dojo. SiliconDojo.com, free the indies or hands-on technology education that empowers you to do whatever the hell it is you want to do. We just had a class on Moondream AI computer vision, or AI computer vision using the AI Moondream model. We're going to have more classes coming up in January with Raspberry Pis and Python and all kinds of different things. Take a look at SiliconDojo.com if you're interested. Take a look at the schedule. If you want to help support free to user education, there's a donor box link down below. And with that, see y'all later. Ooh, look. I did 4 videos. I did four videos in about 54 minutes. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes, in order to make yourself a little bit faster, you just got to put a little timer on your desk just to keep you on track. Anyways, see y'all later.